this video, we're going to learn how to tag a lot of the elements in our drawings. Revit has some really nice features in the tag category, so I think you'll really enjoy this compared to AutoCAD. So I want to go back to my first floor plan. I'm going to start here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Annotate tab, and I'm going to go to Tag All and click on that, and it's going to bring up my items that I want to tag. As you can see, there are a lot of different elements that we can tag, but in this view we don't want to tag every little detail. We only want to tag the items that we would typically show in a enlarged plan view like this. So I'm going to pick my structural column tags, I'm going to pick my structural foundation tags, and I'm going to pick my structural framing tags. So once I have the items selected that I want, I can hit apply and say OK. And if you look in here, it's kind of a mess. Everything's kind of on top of each other. Our text size looks to be different, so we're going to have to edit that. So the first thing I'm going to do is go and get my text all straightened out. So if I click on this, one of these, it doesn't matter which one, and I hit edit type, you see it really doesn't give me anything. It does not help me at all as far as what I can do other than with my leaders. So I'm just going to hit cancel. And instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that tag and I'm going to do edit family. Then I can go in and I can select this tag and I can hit edit type, and it'll take me in to where I can change my font size. So again, I want this to be 1/8 inch, and I'm going to say OK. And then I'm going to say load into project. And I want it to come into my still project, and I want to overwrite. So now that text size is correct. So now I need to edit this one in the same way. I'm going to go to edit family, I'm going to go to edit type, and again I want to change my height to 1/8 inch and say apply and say OK and load into project. Okay, and then I should have one more that I need to change because I picked 3 different elements, and it should be this one. So again, I want to go into edit family, I want to go into edit type, and I want to change my text height to 1/8 inch. And again, your office would probably already have all of this preset, but it's good to know how to do it. So again, we're going to load it into our still project, and we're going to overwrite, and now all of our text sizes are the same. So now we're ready to start fixing this text and putting it to where it's legible. Right here I have both my footing dimensions and my column sizes. So the first thing I want to do is I want to move these footings. Well, it's very difficult to grab these because they're on top of each other. So if I select everything in my drawing, and again I use my filter and I do check none, then I can pick my foundation tags just by themselves and hit apply and say OK. So now by just using my move, I can just move these down and they're all in the same location, so that looks a little bit better. A lot of times we kind of like to put the column tag kind of at an angle. You might see that sometimes, but I'm going to keep mine straight, and I'm just going to add a leader to them and pull them over to the side. I'm going to select everything, and then I'm going to go to my filter, and I'm going to check none, and I'm going to pick my structural column tags, and I'm going to say apply, and I'm going to say OK. And in this case I want to put a check mark over here in my leader. And now again I'm going to do move, and I'm going to grab these guys, and I'm just going to kind of pull them over and down to the side. So you see it put that in pretty much alignment with my others. So I just need to check and make sure we're okay. So down here you see it's interfering with my dimensions. So in this case I'm going to grab both of these, and I'm just going to pull them to the upper part. And then I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to grab this tag and I'm going to move it over here to the side. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. And you notice if I get them in alignment, there's that dashed blue line, so I know that they are lined up. Here I have an issue, so again I'm going to pull this down to here, and this one I am going to pull down to here to where it's in alignment with the other one. So that looks pretty good. The only thing I have left to do is my cross bracing. I have two tags here on top of each other, so I'm just going to grab one and move it, and I want them spaced similarly away from the object, and I do want them to align in this direction. And do the same thing here, grab one, move it to the other side, and make sure they are in alignment. One thing I did not show you that you can actually do, let's go in and edit this family again. And you can select here, and when you go into edit type, you can actually change the colors. We always talk about Revit just being in black and white. So you can actually have different tags have different colors. Now that I have pretty much everything in place, again, I want to look to see if everything looks okay. And these foundation tags are kind of bothering me because they're just kind of floating out here and they're not really pointing to anything. So I think they need to have a leader added onto them. So again, I'm going to click on it and I'm going to add the leader line and say apply. And now it actually points to that. And I'm going to pull this one up here, and again I'm going to add the leader line to that, and then I'm going to just hold down my control key, select all of those. Oops. And I'm going to add the leader line. And again, I don't really like these being over my column line. So again, now that I've got them all, I'm just going to grab them and pull them down. So that looks a little bit neater, is a little bit easier to read. And then I think I'll just grab these dimension lines and pull them out just a little bit so that they're not touching those lines. So once you get something completed, you always want to go through it and make sure you can read everything, and that you can read everything clearly and that it makes sense. So again, that looks pretty good. So I'm happy with how that turned out. So now we are ready to go to our second level, and we're going to do the same. We don't have nearly as many items in this one. I'm going to select all of those. And I'm going to go to annotate, and I'm going to do tag all. And in this case, I should only have my columns and my framing tags. And I'm going to say apply and say OK. And now you can see everything is placed in there. So again, I'm going to select all of my column tags. Check none. Column tags and say apply and say OK. And I want to put the leader line on them, and I'm going to take this first one and pull it kind of up here to the top, and that works pretty good on this one. This one it does not, so I want to pull it to the inside, and again I want it to align. And these I'm going to grab and I'm going to pull them down because it's too busy where they are at. Those two are fine, those two are fine, and those two are fine. So now I need to move this one and this one. I'm going to hold down my control key and select both of them, and again I want my leader on that, and I'm going to pull this one to the left because I have that one there, and I'm going to pull them up a little bit where they're in line with the other ones. But this one I want to pull back down because I don't have that much room in there. So actually, I'm going to pull it over to this side. And I notice that these don't really show correctly either. So I'm going to grab all of them and I'm going to pull them down into the side, and I want them to align with these. And now I have a line crossing. That is a big no-no. So now I'm going to grab this one, and again I'm going to pull it over to the side to where it's in alignment. And again, this one I need to move back over to here because again it's on top of a dimension. So that one looks good, that one, those all look good, those look good. Now I have this one here in the middle. Now this one's going to be a little tricky, so what I'm just going to kind of do is try to get it centered between a beam as best that I can so that the majority of it can be red. And then the same with this one, I'm going to put it in the same, between the same beams, and place it right there. So now everything is pretty legible other than my cross bracing. And again, I'm just going to select one of each one of them by holding down the control key, and I'm going to move it to the other side. And now we can read all of that. So this one is now done. Next, we are ready to go to the level 3. Now this one's probably going to be the trickiest one to do because we have the most elements here. So again, I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to go to my Annotate tab, and I'm going to go to Tag All. And again, I want the same things, my structural column tags and my structural framing tags. And I'm going to say Apply, and I'm going to say OK. And in reality, it didn't come in too awfully bad if we look at it. So probably the first thing I want to do is I want to grab these dimensions and pull them up just a little bit so that we're not too close to that. Next, I want to grab all of my beam tags. Those are the ones that are red on here. So sometimes changing the color makes it a little easier because you can see those a little bit better. And I got to figure out where is going to be the best place to put them. So I'm going to grab them for right now and kind of put them up here to the side. And again, I want to put a leader on them, and then I'm going to look. So this one here, I want to move to the outside. I want to keep it in a line. And here, that's not too bad. I don't really know that there's a whole lot more I could do other than to grab my dimensions and pull them out, which does help. So those all look good. These, I need to grab them and pull them to the outside and keep them in alignment. And then here again, I would probably take my column lines and pull that out, then grab those dimensions again, pull them back in a little bit, grab that dimension, pull it in a little bit, and then I could pull these columns back in just a little bit. So that makes it all a little bit easier to read. Again, these that are right here, I'm going to grab all of them by holding down my control key, even the one up here at the top, and I want to move these to where they're in between a beam as best as I can. So it makes it a little easier to read. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. And I'm going to move these over to where they're pretty much in between the beams again. So that makes them a little easier to read. These going in this direction are all in really good shape. And if I look over everything, I think I'm good. One thing that we did forget to do was our angles down here. Now if I slide this over here, it's probably going to interfere with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these tags and I'm going to slide them up a little bit. And then I'm going to grab these tags and I'm going to slide them down a little bit. That way they're not directly with each other. And then I'm going to select one and one here, and I'm going to slide them to the inside. And again, I'm going to keep them close to my beam. That way they are not in the way of each other. So it's very clear that these are for these members and these are for the two cross bracing pieces. So now very quickly we have added all the tags to our drawings that are needed. Again, it's so much faster than AutoCAD. Plus, if we were to change an element, this would automatically update because it is intelligent and it knows what it is tied to. So in the next video, we're going to get into detailing.